The perfect trap the stars above looked peaceful as Captain Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of Lunar Command, humanity's most classified military installation. Hidden beneath the moon's surface, this base had been operational for 40 years, waiting for this exact moment. Sarah's reflection in the reinforced glass showed a woman in her 50s, with silver-streaked hair and eyes that had seen too many classified briefings about what was coming. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. Lieutenant Commander Alex Rivera approached with a tablet in hand, his face serious. "Captain, we've detected the Thaxian scout ship entering the outer solar system. They're conducting deep scans of Earth, just as predicted." Sarah nodded, her expression calm despite the magnitude of the moment. "Excellent. Are our deception protocols active?" "All systems green, Captain. Earth is broadcasting on all frequencies exactly what we want them to see. Primitive radio signals, basic satellite technology, and absolutely no sign of our real capabilities." Far below on Earth, Dr. Marcus Webb sat in his underground laboratory, beneath what appeared to be a simple agricultural research facility in Kansas. The 70-year-old scientist had devoted his entire career to this moment, creating the most sophisticated deception in human history. His screens showed the Thaxian scout ships scanning patterns, and everything was going according to plan. "Computer, status report on Project Mirage," Marcus commanded. The AI's voice responded immediately. "All deception protocols functioning optimally, Dr. Webb. The Thaxians are detecting exactly what we want them to see. Earth appears to have achieved basic spaceflight capability approximately 50 years ago. No advanced weaponry detected, no orbital defenses, no evidence of quantum technology or dimensional manipulation." Marcus smiled. If only they knew the truth. Humanity had been preparing for this day since the first crashed alien probe was recovered in 1985. That single piece of technology had changed everything, giving Earth's scientists a glimpse into what was possible and what was coming. Aboard the Thaxian scout vessel, Crimson Talon, Commander Drex studied the scan results with growing satisfaction. The blue-green planet below looked perfect for the Empire's expansion plans. More importantly, it appeared completely defenseless. "Subcommander Kale, what do you make of these readings?" Drex asked his second-in-command. Kale examined the data on his console. "The inhabitants have achieved basic interplanetary travel, sir. They have established a small presence on their moon and have sent primitive probes to neighboring planets. Their technology appears to be roughly equivalent to our levels from 800 years ago. Weapons, crude nuclear devices, kinetic weapons, and basic energy weapons. Nothing that could threaten even our oldest ships. They have no orbital defense platforms, no energy shields, and no faster-than-light capability." Drex's mandibles clicked with amusement. "Perfect. Signal the fleet. We have found our next conquest." The message traveled through hyperspace to the Thaxian Armada, where Fleet Admiral Vex received it with great interest. The massive alien stood nearly 8 feet tall, his armor gleaming under the bridge lights of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. His 6 eyes studied the scout report with growing excitement. A primitive world with abundant resources and no real defenses, he mused aloud. This will be even easier than the conquest of Zeridian Prime. His tactical officer, Colonel Nith, nodded agreement. "Shall the first prepare the standard invasion protocols, Admiral? No need for anything elaborate. Send the second fleet. 200 ships should be more than sufficient to convince these humans of their hopeless situation. Once they see our vessels, they will surrender immediately." What the Thaxians didn't know was that their every move was being monitored by humanity's most advanced surveillance network. Hidden sensors throughout the solar system, disguised as space debris and defunct satellites, tracked their communications and movements. The information flowed directly to Earth's Global Defense Initiative, the secret organization that had been preparing for this day for 4 decades. President Elena Rodriguez stood in the Situation Room deep beneath the Pentagon, surrounded by the world's most classified defense systems. The room itself was a marvel of technology, with holographic displays showing real-time data from across the solar system. Every major nation on Earth had contributed to this moment, putting aside their differences to prepare for humanity's greatest test. "How long do we have?" she asked General Harrison Mitchell, chairman of the Joint Chiefs. "Based on their current trajectory and speed, approximately 72 hours until they reach Earth's orbit," Mitchell replied. "All defense systems are operational and standing by, and our deception is holding." Dr. Webb's voice came through the secure communication system. "Perfectly, Madam President. The Thaxians believe they're facing a primitive civilization with no real military capabilities. They have no idea what we've actually built. What humanity had actually built was beyond anything the Thaxians could imagine. The crashed alien probe had given Earth's scientists access to quantum field manipulation, dimensional energy extraction, and gravitational control technology. But instead of announcing these breakthroughs to the world, the Global Defense Initiative had made a different choice. They would hide these capabilities, letting the galaxy believe Earth was weak and primitive while secretly becoming one of the most advanced civilizations in known space. Captain Sarah Chen reviewed the final preparations from Lunar Command. The moon base was just one part of Earth's hidden defense network. Beneath the surface of every major city, quantum weapons systems lay dormant, disguised as subway tunnels and utility infrastructure. Orbital platforms, cloaked with dimensional shifting technology, surrounded Earth like invisible guardians. Even the International Space Station, visible to any observer, was actually a heavily armed battle platform disguised as a research facility. "Status report, Commander Rivera," Sarah requested. "All systems green across the board, Captain. The quantum disruptor array is fully charged. Gravitational weapons are online. Dimensional shields are ready for activation. Our stealth fleet is in position throughout the solar system." Sarah nodded, then activated the communication system. "This is Lunar Command to all stations. The enemy fleet has been detected. They will arrive in approximately 70 hours. Remember, we have spent 40 years preparing for this moment. Every simulation, every test, every sacrifice has led to this. When they arrive, they will see exactly what we want them to see until the moment we decide otherwise." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, the Mariana Defense Station hummed with activity. Commander James Park oversaw the final preparations for humanity's most powerful weapon system. The station itself was built into the deepest part of the ocean floor, using alien technology to create a facility that could survive direct hits from star-destroying weapons. "Fusion reactors at 100%, sir," reported his chief engineer. "The Titan-class quantum cannon is ready for deployment. Excellent. How long to full power once we receive the activation order?" 30 seconds, sir. The weapon will be able to penetrate any known shielding technology and destroy targets up to 50,000 kilometers away." Similar conversations were taking place at hidden facilities across Earth. In the Australian outback, the Uluru Command Center prepared its fleet of cloaked fighters. In the Amazon rainforest, the Canopy Base readied its environmental weapon systems. In Antarctica, The ice station powered up its dimensional barrier generators. The Thaxian fleet continued its approach, completely unaware that they were flying into the most sophisticated trap in galactic history. Admiral Vex spent his time planning victory celebrations and dividing the spoils of conquest among his officers. The idea that a primitive species might actually pose a threat never crossed his mind. "Admiral," reported his communications officer, "we're receiving basic radio transmissions from the target planet. They appear to be routine civilian communications about commerce, entertainment, and daily life. Any military communications?" "Nothing sophisticated, sir. We're detecting what appears to be their equivalent of military radio chatter, but it's all very primitive. They're using basic encryption that our systems cracked in minutes." Vex's satisfaction grew. The humans were not only technologically inferior, but apparently had no idea his fleet was approaching. Maintained course. Signaled the fleet to prepare for standard intimidation protocols. Once they see our ships, they'll surrender without firing a shot. But in the depths of space, humanity's true capabilities were already at work. The Thaxian fleet was being tracked by sensors more advanced than anything in their own ships. Their communications were being intercepted and analyzed by artificial intelligence systems that made their computers look like primitive calculators. Every ship in their fleet had been mapped, their weaknesses identified, and their destruction planned down to the microsecond. Dr. Webb made final adjustments to the deception protocols from his hidden laboratory. "Computer, how are the Thaxians responding to our false signals?" "They have completely accepted the deception, Dr. Webb. Their tactical computers rate Earth's military capabilities as minimal threat level. They are proceeding with a standard intimidation approach suitable for a primitive world, perfect, and our actual capabilities remain hidden completely. Our quantum signatures are masked. Our dimensional distortions are undetectable. Our gravitational weapons appear as natural phenomena. The Thaxians will have no warning until we choose to reveal ourselves." As the enemy fleet drew closer, humanity made its final preparations. Every citizen on Earth continued their daily lives, unaware that the most important battle in human history was about to begin. The Global Defense Initiative had made the decision to keep the general population uninformed. Believing that panic would serve no purpose, Captain Sarah Chen stood once more at the observation deck, watching the approaching enemy fleet through. Enhanced sensors. In just a few hours, the Thaxians would learn the truth about humanity. They would discover that the primitive species they had come to conquer was actually one of the most dangerous civilizations in the galaxy. The trap was set. The weapons were ready. Earth's greatest deception was about to become the galaxy's greatest. Surprise! Asterisk, when Earth showed its true face, the Thaxian fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, their ships spreading across the solar system like a dark cloud of death. Admiral Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, admiring the sight of his 200 vessels. Each ship was a masterpiece of military engineering, capable of destroying entire continents. The fleet's combined firepower could reduce a planet to molten rock in a matter of hours. "Magnificent," Vex said to his officers. "The humans will soil themselves when they see this display of power." What the Admiral didn't know was that his magnificent fleet was already surrounded. Earth's cloaked defense platforms had been tracking their movements since the moment they dropped out of hyperspace. Every ship in the Thaxian armada was locked onto by weapons systems more advanced than anything in their wildest nightmares. Captain Sarah Chen watched the enemy fleet's deployment from Lunar Command, her expression calm and professional. Beside her, Commander Rivera monitored the incoming data streams from across the solar system. Their formation is exactly as predicted, Rivera reported. Standard intimidation pattern. They're attempting to maximize their visual impact while maintaining what they think is a safe distance from Earth. How long until they're in position for their ultimatum? Sarah asked. Approximately 10 minutes, Captain. All our systems are ready. We're just waiting for your order. On Earth, President Rodriguez stood in the Situation Room, surrounded by the leaders of the Global Defense Initiative. The holographic displays showed the Thaxian fleet in perfect detail. Their positions, weapon systems, and shield configurations, all clearly visible. Recommendations, she asked General Mitchell. Let them make their demand first, the general replied. We want them to be completely committed to this course of action. Once they deliver their ultimatum, we'll show them what humanity is really capable of. Admiral Vex activated his fleet's communication systems, preparing to broadcast the standard surrender demand to the primitive world below. His tactical computers had analyzed Earth's defenses and found them laughably inadequate. A few orbital satellites, some basic missile systems, and what appeared to be a small space station orbiting their moon. Nothing that could threaten even his oldest ships. Inhabitants of the third planet, Vex began, his voice carrying across all human communication frequencies. You are now subjects of the Thaxian Empire. You have 1 hour to surrender unconditionally. Comply, and your deaths will be swift. Resist, and we will make your species extinct. This is your only warning. The message reached every radio, television, and communication device on Earth. For the first time in human history, the planet's population learned they were not alone in the universe. Panic began to spread through major cities as people realized they were facing an alien invasion, but in the hidden command centers around the world, humanity's true defenders were ready. President Rodriguez stepped forward to address the alien fleet. Admiral Vex of the Thaxian Empire, this is President Elena Rodriguez of Earth. We reject your ultimatum. You have entered our system uninvited and threatened our people. You have 1 minute to leave our space or face the consequences. The response from the Thaxian fleet was immediate laughter across all communication channels. Vex's officers found the human response hilarious. A primitive species threatening the mighty Thaxian Empire was beyond amusing. Your minute is up, humans, Vex replied. Witness the price of defiance. The Admiral raised his hand to signal the bombardment of Earth's major cities. His weapons officers prepared to fire, their targeting computers locked onto population centers. But as Vex's hand began to fall, something impossible happened. The space around Earth erupted in light. What the Thaxians had thought was empty space suddenly filled with massive energy signatures. Hidden weapons platforms materialized out of nowhere, their dimensional cloaking systems deactivating to reveal the true extent of Earth's defenses. The small space station orbiting the moon transformed before their eyes, expanding into a massive battle fortress bristling with weapons. What in the void's name is that? Vex shouted as his sensors went wild. Dr. Webb activated the final sequence. From his laboratory, computer, drop all deception protocols. Show them what we really are. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden technology came online. The primitive radio signals stopped, replaced by quantum communication systems that made the Thaxians' technology look ancient. The basic satellites transformed into advanced sensor networks. The simple moon base revealed itself as Lunar Command, a military installation that could coordinate planetary defense on a scale the Thaxians had never imagined. Captain Sarah Chen smiled as she watched the enemy fleet's formation falter. All stations, this is Lunar Command. You are authorized to engage. Show them what happens when they threaten humanity. The first wave of Earth's counterattack began with the quantum disruptor array, hidden beneath major cities around the world. These weapons tore holes in space-time itself, creating localized gravitational anomalies that crushed Thaxian ships like tin cans. 50 vessels were destroyed in the first 10 seconds, their crews never even realizing they were under attack. Asterisk. Admiral Vex stared in horror as his fleet began to disappear. All ships, evasive maneuvers, returned fire. But the Thaxian weapons were useless against Earth's dimensional shields. Energy beams that could melt through neutronium simply vanished into folded space. Kinetic projectiles were deflected by gravitational fields. Nuclear weapons detonated harmlessly against barriers that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Commander James Park initiated the second phase of the attack from the Mariana Defense Station. Titan cannon is fully charged and ready to fire, he reported. Target the flagship, came the order from Lunar Command. Let's send Admiral Vex a message he won't forget. The Titan-class quantum cannon fired a beam of pure energy that traveled faster than light itself. The weapon punched through the Eternal Dominion's shields as if they were paper, cutting the massive vessel in half. The Admiral's bridge erupted in sparks and flame as his ship began to break apart. Impossible, Vex screamed as his ship died around him. How can a primitive species possess such weapons? The answer came from humanity's cloaked fighter fleet. Captain Maria Santos led her squadron out of dimensional hiding, their ships appearing directly among the Thaxian formation. The human fighters moved with impossible speed and agility, their quantum engines allowing them to change direction instantaneously. This is Ghost Squadron, Maria reported. Beginning attack run on enemy cruisers. The human fighters were armed with weapons that the Thaxians had never seen before. Singularity torpedoes created miniature black holes that consumed entire ships. Molecular disruptors broke down matter at the atomic level. Temporal distortion fields caused enemy vessels to age decades in seconds. Within 3 minutes of the battle's start, half the Thaxian fleet was gone. Admiral Vex, now aboard an escape pod as his flagship crumbled, desperately tried to contact his remaining ships. All vessels, retreat, full retreat, get us out of here, but humanity wasn't finished. The third phase of the attack came from Earth's orbital platforms, now revealed in all their terrible glory. These installations surrounded the planet like a crown of death, each one capable of destroying an entire fleet. They opened fire simultaneously, their beams creating a web of destruction that caught the fleeing Thaxian ships. Dr. Webb monitored the battle from his laboratory, his expression satisfied. Computer, casualty report. Thaxian fleet strength reduced by 75% and falling. Remaining vessels are attempting to flee the system. Our losses, 0. President Rodriguez watched the battle's conclusion from the Situation Room. In less than 5 minutes, humanity had destroyed the most powerful invasion force in Thaxian history. The few surviving ships were limping toward the edge of the solar system, their crews traumatized by the encounter. "Open a channel to the survivors," she ordered. The transmission reached Admiral Vex's escape pod and the remaining Thaxian vessels. The president's voice was calm, but carried a warning that chilled the aliens to their core. "This is President Rodriguez of Earth. You came here believing we were primitive and defenseless. You were wrong. Return to your empire and deliver this message. Earth is not to be underestimated. We are not the weak species you thought we were. We are humanity, and we protect our own. The surviving Thaxians fled the solar system, their ships broadcasting emergency signals to the Empire's homeworlds. The message was clear. Earth was not a primitive world to be conquered, but a military powerhouse that had been hiding its true capabilities. Captain Sarah Chen stood once more on the observation deck, watching the last enemy ships disappear into hyperspace. Lunar Command had performed flawlessly, coordinating the defense of Earth with precision that would have been impossible just decades earlier. "Status report, Commander Rivera," she requested. "All systems operational. Captain, our cloaking systems are reactivating. Within hours, we'll be invisible again. The galaxy will know what happened here, but they won't be able to find our hidden installations." The battle was over, but its consequences would reshape the galaxy. News of Earth's victory spread through hyperspace communication networks, reaching every major civilization within days. The primitive world that had been dismissed as an easy conquest had just destroyed a Thaxian invasion fleet in 5 minutes. Other alien empires began to reconsider their expansion plans. If Earth could defeat the Thaxians so easily, what other surprises might humanity have in store? The galaxy's balance of power had shifted, and humanity had emerged as a force to be reckoned with. Dr. Webb began the process of reactivating the deception protocols. Earth would once again appear primitive to casual observation. But now every alien civilization would know better than to test them. The planet that had seemed defenseless was actually one of the most dangerous worlds in the galaxy. As the days passed, Earth returned to its normal appearance. The hidden weapons disappeared beneath their cloaking systems. The orbital platforms vanished into dimensional folds. The fighter fleets returned to their secret bases. To any external observer, Earth looked exactly as it had before the battle. But the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humanity had spent 40 years preparing for this moment, turning their apparent weakness into the ultimate strength. They had allowed themselves to be underestimated, and when the moment came, they had shown the universe what humans were truly capable of. The Empire had thought Earth was unarmed. They had been wrong, and they had paid for that mistake with their fleet, their reputation, and their fear. From that day forward, humanity would never again be seen as a primitive species to be conquered. They had become the defenders of Earth, the masters of deception, and the galaxy's newest superpower, all in just 5 minutes. Asterisk.